Now, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has decided to hand over the Chagos Islands, including the military base stationed there, to Mauritius. This decision has sparked significant controversy. The UK has long maintained a strategic military presence on the islands, but Starmer appears willing to relinquish control, much to the dismay of many. The shocking part: the UK is not only giving away the islands but also paying Mauritius $9 billion in the process. Critics argue that this move disregards national security interests and weakens the UK's standing on the global stage. The Chagos Islands have been a long-standing source of dispute, but Starmer's decision has intensified the debate. The islands, home to a crucial US military base, have been under British control for decades. Now, with this abrupt shift in policy, concerns are mounting over the implications of ceding sovereignty. Among the voices speaking out is John Kennedy, who sees this as Britain selling itself short. He argues that the Prime Minister is neglecting the nation's interests in favour of appeasing foreign entities. Instead of prioritising Britain's strategic assets, he seems more concerned with satisfying external demands, leaving the UK vulnerable and overlooked in the process. Many see this as a pattern. Starmer is accused of focusing on assisting other nations while failing to address domestic issues. The Chagos Islands' fate is more than a territorial matter. It's about history, geopolitics, and the UK's role in the world. The people of Mauritius, who have long claimed ownership of the islands, are now pressing for their return, and Starmer appears ready to comply. However, critics argue that the UK is surrendering its position without adequately negotiating terms that could benefit Britain. Kennedy has openly criticised Starmer for his weak stance, stating that the UK is losing grip on an issue that could have been handled with greater strategic foresight. So, what's really happening here? And where is this all leading? Before diving deeper, if you find this content informative, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Did you know that over 98% of viewers watch our content without subscribing? By clicking the subscribe button, you're directly supporting our ability to create high-quality videos for you. It only takes a second but makes a world of difference in helping us grow. Thank you, and now, let's continue. The roots of this controversy trace back to 1965 when the British government made a highly disputed decision regarding the Chagos Islands. These islands, part of the British Indian Ocean Territory, were separated from Mauritius while it was still a British colony. Later, the UK allowed the United States to construct a military base on Diego Garcia, the largest island in the group. However, this came at a significant human cost. The Chagosian people, who had lived there for generations, were forcibly removed. Thousands were displaced, sent to Mauritius and the Seychelles with little to no support, left to rebuild their lives in unfamiliar lands. Their forced exile remains one of the most painful chapters in the region's history, and to this day, many descendants continue to fight for their right to return. Recently, Starmer has faced scrutiny in the House of Commons regarding his decision to change payment terms in the agreement to transfer control of the islands. He argues that national security could be compromised if there isn't legal clarity regarding the future of Diego Garcia, the critical military base on the islands. However, Mauritius insists that it never claimed the financial terms had doubled, further muddying the situation. Diego Garcia serves as a key strategic outpost, supporting US military operations in the Indian Ocean, and plays a crucial role in intelligence missions. Despite its significance, the history of the base remains controversial, with the Chagosian people continuing their fight to return to their homeland. Both the UK and US remain firm that the base is vital for global security, and thus, they have resisted allowing resettlement. The Chagos Islands issue is deeply entangled in legal battles, political maneuvering, and ongoing debates about human rights. Many critics argue that the UK is being pressured into relinquishing control due to lingering colonial guilt. The UK has been accused of maintaining an outdated imperial mindset, and some believe that Starmer's decision is an attempt to erase that perception. However, opponents of the deal point out that Mauritius never had direct control over the islands, making their claim tenuous at best. The argument is that the UK is under no legal obligation to return the islands, yet Starmer appears determined to do so regardless. John Kennedy has been vocal in condemning the UK's handling of the situation. He emphasizes that the Chagosians were forcibly removed from their homeland without fair compensation and that justice has yet to be served. In his view, this is more than a territorial dispute. it's about righting historical wrongs. He asserts that returning the islands to Mauritius would not only acknowledge the suffering of the Chagosian people but would also recognize Mauritius' sovereignty. However, this raises a new concern. Mauritius is now demanding more than the initial $9 billion, requesting an even larger sum for the UK to maintain access to the military base. The latest developments suggest that Mauritius is leveraging its position to extract more financial benefits from the UK. Reports indicate that Mauritius is seeking as much as $18 billion to lease the Diego Garcia base back to the UK and US. Kennedy calls this an outrageous demand, arguing that the UK is essentially being forced to pay for its own military installation. This situation, he warns, sets a dangerous precedent. If a country shows weakness in negotiations, it opens the door for increased demands and future concessions. Starmer's reluctance to stand firm in these negotiations signals a lack of strong leadership, which critics say weakens the UK's position on the global stage. This entire episode has left many questioning the UK's approach to international diplomacy. The Diego Garcia base is crucial for the Anglo-American alliance and has been a pillar of Western security strategy for decades. If the UK trades away its sovereignty over the Chagos Islands, it risks diminishing its influence and strategic importance. Why would Britain willingly give up such a key asset? Some believe that political correctness and a misguided desire to appear morally upright are driving this decision. Others argue that it's simply poor leadership and weak negotiation skills at play. As the situation unfolds, the stakes continue to rise. Mauritius sees an opportunity to maximize its financial gain, while the UK appears to be conceding too much, too soon. Starmer's approach has sparked concerns that Britain is losing its global standing. Kennedy warns that if this deal goes through as proposed, it could be a defining moment of weakness in British foreign policy. Meanwhile, questions remain about how this will impact the UK's relationship with the US. Will a future US administration oppose the deal? Will Britain's willingness to cede control damage trust with its key allies? The Chagos Islands case is more than a territorial issue. It's a critical test of Britain's leadership on the world stage. If the UK continues to back down from global challenges, its influence may gradually erode. Starmer's handling of the Chagos Islands issue has already made the UK look vulnerable. Both global allies and domestic critics are questioning his leadership, wondering if he is the right person to navigate these complex diplomatic waters. Kennedy's sharp critique serves as a wake-up call, urging Starmer and his government to take a firmer stance. The future of the Chagos Islands remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: this issue is far from over.